All right, hello, good morning, good evening, and good night. I hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic because today what we're talking about is MSTY, which is the Yieldmax MSTR Option Income Strategy ETF. The reason why is because MSTY had a huge run up due to the underlying MicroStrategies, the stock, having a huge run up in both February and March. So now that we're kind of on the downside of this run up, we're kind of going into a bit of a bear market. I want to talk a little bit about MSTY, what could be expected as well. We'll go over MicroStrategies financials just to see, is this valuation truly, does it make sense? Because this is a $21.5 billion company, is no longer a small company that it once was. And prior, it was actually trading closer to probably like a $25-30 billion company. So we're going to go through the financials, compare it to relative kind of players in their space like Nvidia, and I want to really show you guys, is MicroStrategies worth this? And maybe it'll open up your eyes to say maybe it is a little bit overvalued potentially, or maybe you might find it's undervalued. So we're going to talk about all that in this video. So we're up to 4,423 subscribers, 220 subscribers in the past 28 days. So please do subscribe if you haven't yet done so. And yeah, let's get into it. So MSTY, you guys probably hold it in your portfolio. I don't have my portfolio up, unfortunately, but I don't hold any MSTY, so it's kind of counterintuitive there. So it's 168% dividend yield. That's a huge dividend yield. It's partly due to the fact that MicroStrategies had such a huge run up in the past couple months, which I can only really see on the 6-month calendar here, going from about February to midway through March. And then at the end of March, MSTY paid a pretty juicy dividend, which was about $4, the biggest Yieldmax distribution, $4.12, the biggest Yieldmax distribution ever seen to date. So that was for MSTY. There we go. But MSTY it started at $20, as most Yieldmax funds do, traded all the way up to about $44, $45, which is really 120. That's a 120% gain right there. That is a fantastic gain, although the underlying stock MicroStrategies really did about a 2.5 to 3x. But MSTY traded up to $44 and then is now trading at about $30. It's falling as the underlying stock MSTR is falling. And one thing to note is that when a stock appreciates super fast, like we've seen in MSTR here, just tripling over the past couple months, it will also fall very hard, which is what we're seeing, and which is also what we're seeing in the Yieldmax version. Now, MicroStrategies as a company, what I want to show you is they are a $21.5 billion company. I do understand their earnings per share is $26 per share, which is fantastic, but they're a $21.5 billion company, and they're only producing about $400 million a quarter, roughly about maybe $1 billion a year or so. And you could see leading up until 2023 and 2022, 2021 and prior, they were actually negative. This could be due to the fact that they were probably reinvesting into the company to try and build it, but their net income for a while was negative. And we go to their balance sheet as well. They're not a huge company by any means. They only have $4.7 billion in total assets, about $2.5 billion, $2.6 billion in total liabilities. You can see they do have a little bit of debt here, but they're valued at a $21.5 billion company. Now, is this kind of new for the space? Not really, because when we're looking at other companies like Nvidia, which is also in the AI space, they're $2.1 trillion company. That is a huge market cap. And when looking at their financials, we could see that their total net income is roughly about $30 million for the past year, which is $30 billion for a $2 trillion company. That is crazy. And it further goes on when we look at the total assets, $65 billion. Remember, this is a $2.1 trillion company. Their total liabilities are $22 billion, almost $23 billion there. When we compare, for example, the total assets of a $2.1 billion company, which is Nvidia, to let's say Apple, which is a $2.5 billion, almost $2.6 billion, a little bit bigger, about $400-500 billion bigger, which is still a huge marker. But when we're looking at the net income from Apple, for example, in the hundreds of millions for past years, and we're looking at the balance sheet, where their balance sheet is like 5 to 6 times what Nvidia's balance sheet is. Keep in mind, they do have a lot of liabilities at the same time, but the total assets is a lot higher than Nvidia's. They are in similar niches. Like, I understand Apple's not in AI, but they are still somewhat in tech. Nvidia has such a huge market cap for what they have, in my opinion, and MicroStrategies does as well. Maybe this is an AI trend, but I do think that it's overvalued. I do think AI as a whole was pushed way beyond what it should have been. Nvidia went from what was probably a $1 trillion company to a $2 trillion company in a span of 6 months. MicroStrategies probably went from a company that was worth about maybe 4 or 5 billion to a $21 billion company in such a short span. And these huge run-ups were obviously seen in MSTY, but we're also seeing the downside. Now, we might see a bit of resistance here at this level, about $1,000 for MSTR. Even today, it's up about 2% or so. It's not, doing anything crazy, but we've been in a pretty hard downtrend. And that's what we're going to see in MSTY. When you see those hard uptrends, you'll see a hard downtrend at the same time, and it reflects in the Yieldmax Option Income Strategy ETFs. So currently, I do think MSTR is probably headed for more downtrends. It's very difficult to say when it's going to slow down. I think maybe about this $1,000 marker or so, but it's definitely important to kind of keep relevance to other players in the space like Nvidia and see how they're doing at the same time, because if Nvidia's going up, then most likely MicroStrategies is also going to appreciate. But I do have MicroStrategies website up. I don't necessarily understand AI as much as I probably should. I do understand, though, AI as a whole is definitely going places, and it's being incorporated into everything from your cars to computers to your phones. Anything with technology is now given the opportunity to have AI, artificial intelligence, to boost the software and become smarter and adapt. So AI and MicroStrategies and Nvidia, they're going to be okay long term. They're definitely going to be there. But in terms of their current valuations, I do think they are currently overvalued, and I'd be potentially looking to sell if I was holding at these markers. And for the Yieldmax Option Income Strategy ETF MSTY, what I would do if I was holding it is I'd potentially look to reduce my position, and if I were bullish long term on MicroStrategies in the future, then I'd look to buy back at a lower marker when I felt that MSTY has kind of run out of the bearish momentum, but I currently don't think they have. Of course, this is not financial advice. This is just my opinion, and that's what we do here on YouTube, just give my opinion. So this was my opinion on MSTY. I just want to update you guys and show you guys the little bearish trend that it's incurring currently due to the underlying stock MSTR falling. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I hope it brought you some light, and I hope it kind of helps you to decide what you want to do with your MSTY positions. Let me know in the comments down below, and I will surely read them. So we're up to 4,423 subscribers. Thank you guys for sticking around. I hope you guys enjoyed this video on a Yieldmax ETF. I hope you guys do take care, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.